Okay, Jeremy here again. Tonight I wanted to show you and talk a little bit about my kitchen collection, my kitchen knives here, and tell you a little bit about my learning curve and maybe help you out with yours if you're inclined to get into the higher end kitchen knives. Okay, so as you can see here, most of them now are in the Japanese style, and I'll get into that in a minute. And but I guess start off with knowing how big do you want your collection to get, because I started buying them and I realized after about a year that my block was not big enough to hold my growing collection, so that forced me to buy a bigger block. It would have been better if maybe I started thinking about the block first, and then the knives that I wanted to go in there. It helps you, buying the block first helps you sort of regulate your buying, your spending, and picking out exactly what you want. Okay, so let me get the camera mounted up here. All right. Okay, well, I got into the kitchen knife thing probably about, I don't know, 15 to 17 years ago, and I started off with your typical kitchen knives that you see in mom and dad's kitchen drawers, and that graduated into sort of hearing about some more higher end stuff, namely by the things like Henckels and things like that. So I started out collecting the Henckels, and they're not bad. You've got the German design or European design with the usually the rivets or the pins holding the handles. Pretty good steel, stainless. Didn't have to worry about it rusting, but I really didn't know. I thought I had reached the top of the mountain when it came to kitchen knives with the Henckels and similar brands. But later on, I soon found that there were better knives out there. So, namely the Japanese knives, and the reason why I feel they're better anyway is the steels. So I sort of went full circle, and I'm still, I guess, coming around, but what I mean by that is I've graduated back from stainless steels back into, I think I'm getting into the more of the traditional carbon steel knives, or at least if it's going to be stainless, it's going to be the higher end stainless steels. So let me just show you some of the ones I've accumulated. I'm not going to pronounce their names because it would be brutal, but I can tell you I buy most of my knives from Chef Knives To Go. Awesome site, and you can get just a huge variety to look through, and they've got videos and tutorials and whatnot. But the Japanese knives, they're not like the European style. They just have sort of a wooden handle that's, the blade is sort of really just forced into it, and it's sort of glued in. These can come out, and you can change out handles. Like this guy, actually, I bought this handle for a bigger knife, sort of dyed maple handle, and I stuck this guy in here. But the Japanese knives, they can get incredibly sharp. The carbon steels are known to be easy to get a really razor edge on. So there's different kinds of carbon steels, but this one is, I think it's the Aragami #1. It's, I think, some of the purest steel, 1% or a little over 1% carbon, and just iron, carbon and iron. And usually they're clad in some other type of steel because they're brittle, they chip easy, so they clad them in either another carbon steel or a stainless steel to sort of add some durability to them. Okay, so Also with the Japanese knives, you can see that you can get incredibly beautiful patterns in the Damascus realm, like this guy here. Okay, the Japanese knives are also purpose-built, I think, a little bit better than the European knives. So this guy here, purpose-built for slicing vegetables all day long. Here's another one. This one is in S2, I believe. But just look at the Damascus pattern on that and the Hamon line and whatnot. It's a beautiful knife. Okay, this guy here is clad in a stainless steel, but it is HAP 40 underneath, and you can see the nice Hamon line here, but notice the chip. I told you they chip easy. This one, I think there was something on the cutting board or another utensil or something and came down and just very gently hit it and just took a little chip out of it. So you got to be very careful with these. When you pay close to $300 and then you chip it on the first week, you got to be able to live with that. Here is a different one. This guy is Bark River, an American-made kitchen knife. Got some nice mosaic pins, and this is sort of a burlap, epoxy impregnated burlap with different kinds of liners and whatnot. This is a CPM 154 steel. Then a Miyabi, beautiful knife, but right-handed. So that's another thing for the learning curve. Knives are made for usually right-handed people, and I'm actually left-handed when I cut. So when I grabbed this one, it's sort of got a D shape. It felt incredibly uncomfortable in my left hand. So for that reason, I don't like it. I also don't like sort of how sort of clunky it is up here. I prefer much more nimble blades. This is a Shun. I own two of them. Shun Premiers, I think. Very good knives. I like them. I think they're in VG10, clad with a Damascus. But VG10, this also VG10, a little, sort of a little Japanese version of a little paring knife or something like that. But the VG10 is pretty good. So anyway, it's just a little about my collection to date. Ooh, what's this guy? I picked this up too. I'm not sure what this is even used for. I think it's some kind of. Actually, I don't even want to guess what it is. But it's flat on one side and angled. I don't know if it's for like a sushi type implementation. A lot of times their sushi knives or their fish knives are flat on one side. There's no bevel on one side. But anyway, here they are. So highly recommend the Japanese style knives. The variety of steels, the aesthetics, I think are nice. Very comfortable knives, very nimble, lighter weight, easy to use. So there you go. See you later.